Welcome in. You made it. This is the last step in the 10-step system for how to buy your first home. As we come to a close on this, if you've shared your educational experiences with anybody out there, you've no doubt gotten an earful from people giving you advice. Spoiler alert, most of it is terrible. I don't care how smart or trustworthy or caring the people are that are giving you the home buying advice. They might all mean well. I believe that. And it's actually not their fault that their advice is not so great. Most of them are giving you outdated or not completely informed information. So today, we're going to discuss where you can find the best current guidance and who you get it from. Play the music.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
Hey there, How to Buy a Homies. Holy shnikes, you made it to step 10, so be proud of yourself. I'm your host, David Sidoni, and I am totally stoked for you. You did it. That is super bitchin'. You invested in yourself, and you put up with me. You got past my supreme cringiness, or perhaps you didn't get past it, you merely tolerated it, since this is the most trusted and proven first-time homebuyer system in the country, and you just want the answers. Either way, you made it to the final step, and this one is a biggie. Understanding the current end of 2025 and 2026 housing market and mortgage conditions, and learning how do you find the best tools to get the proper clarity so you can navigate your purchase in the current environment as your big day approaches. Now, you may have heard the most important thing about real estate is location, location, location. Yeah, that's partially true, but it's oversimplified, especially for first-time homebuyers. That particular saying was actually created when people were talking about business property purchasing and investment property purchasing. When it comes to buying your personal home, especially for your first home, the better mantra is location, timing, timing. I didn't say timing twice there because we're talking about trying to time the market, buying at the bottom of some crash. I've already gone over the math that your time in the market is the way to make the most money no matter what happens in the future because of how high rents are right now. So when I say location, timing, timing, I'm talking about understanding the data and understanding that in late 2025 and 2026, your best timing is going to be as soon as possible so you can reap the rewards of the giant pent-up demand that's going to start gobbling up the low inventory as prices are going to push up when the buyers come out of hibernation in the beginning of 2026. So that's why timing is important, because the timing when you're purchasing the home is going to have just drastically, wildly different market conditions, and that is going to change every aspect of how you write the offer, negotiate the offer, how you look at homes, when you look at homes, tons of stuff. So as you plan your purchase and you're getting close to it, that's when step 10 becomes very crucial. What are the conditions of the current housing and lending markets? And then how do you take advantage of them? Buying a home is completely different depending on the time that you're buying it. It's not like walking down the aisle of a store or comparison shopping on Amazon. That's pretty much the same thing all the time. This is like a freaking Willy Wonka store where every time you open the door, the room is completely different. The products have all massively changed, and the prices and loan options, they're totally different than the last time that you came to the store last week, let alone last month, or definitely different than it was a year or 3 or 5 years ago, which a lot of times that's the people who are giving you the advice. That's the last time they bought a home. I tell people all the time that when they're buying a home, people are giving them advice to think about what they do when they see people asking for advice online somewhere. You know, like, hey, everybody, I'm trying to buy the best cell phone, computer, or car, TV, or get a new pet. What are your suggestions? You know, when people do that on some of the social media places. Well, now, when you look at that, I know that a lot of times you see what's going on and think, okay, you might get some good advice. A lot of times you will see advice coming from, I don't know, some grandmas out there who says, hey, I have a great cell phone that she bought 10 years ago. When you get advice for people about buying a first home, if they haven't bought a home in the last month or two, their advice is very much like grandma's. It's outdated and not helpful. And unfortunately, buying a home, it's like planning a wedding. Everybody's going to have their opinion on how you do it. And most of those opinions don't apply to you. So nobody, especially Google, can give you simple cheats and hacks on how to buy a home that are going to work exactly in the current market, especially because all of your individual specifications differ tremendously. So that's why it's location, timing, because timing changes everything. Thanks to your well-intended friends and family, but if they haven't bought a home in the last 4 weeks, their information's obsolete. Current market conditions are going to change everything in how you shop for your home. Everything. I'll get into what I mean by that in just a minute. But a quick side note. Yes, of course, there are going to be some basic principles and procedures that pretty much go for every single type of market. Same today as it was last year, even 5 years ago. But the reason why I put this warning out is because there will be gobs and gobs of very tactical tips that you can do that are going to be wildly different, especially moving into the end of 25 and into 2026. So let's focus on how you can take advantage of the differences. of the here and now. So you have two options on how you want to approach step 10 to make sure you're working correctly in the current market. Option 1, you can believe in your support team and ask them where you are on the chutes and ladder board. Now, that's episode 365. I think I said 164 in an older step here, but we've updated it. So episode 365, if you haven't listened to that, that lets you understand where you're starting the process, and then you and your team can work the plan specifically for you. So in option 1, you're doing it that way and asking them for the proper roadmap for what comes next. And when you've got that personal support team, that's where you're going to get the critical, specific and personal information that's going to help you in the current market. And they know more than anybody else does because they sat down with you and taken the time to intake all of your information, all of your goals. And with you, they formed the best options to help you get in your personal best position so you can take the actions that take advantage of the current market. And they're going to do that by using their experience to give you the most efficient combination of all the steps that you need, including any new tricky steps that might apply to the current market conditions. Now, they're doing this every day. They're in it. They know what's up. They're currently using and involved with all these techniques. And then they're working with other buyers as well as you and seeing what's actually happening in the real world. Or you can go option 2. I'm not a fan of this one. The one that unfortunately too many people do. They listen to other people's generic advice and then they figure out, wait a minute, this isn't working for me. And it's either because they're not the same as the person who gave them their advice. So their full picture and full scope of how they can buy and what they can buy is completely different. Finances, personal goals, it's all different. Or it doesn't work for them because the entire buying process is different than what the people told them about. It might have worked in the past, but it's not possible now. I mean, right now, I could do 4 hours on the details of all the things that change in home shopping, presenting your offer, competition, bidding wars, how quickly you need to see homes and how quickly you need to present the offers and how you get them in, the negotiation tactics, the closing process. I mean, for reals, I could do 4 hours. It's that detailed. But instead, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a small sample of market conditions that will and do change constantly. And I'm really going to have to bite my tongue to expand on what each one means, but I just want you to understand. Down payment assistance programs, they're new and they become available. Something that wasn't there last week could suddenly pop up. This happens all the time. And on the flip side of things, down payment assistance programs or loan programs that were available run out of money and now they're gone. Loan programs change all the time. And they absolutely are completely connected to your specific approval numbers that come from your credit score, your income, and your debt. Oh, and I just read this morning that the Vantage score that I told you about when it comes to credit scores, it is going to start being accepted at the end of 2025. That's a change that somebody who bought a house last week didn't know about. And then there are changes in mortgage interest rate buy downs or construction loans and what type of lender you should be using in this specific market. What are the best down payments that are getting taken seriously and sellers are looking at like they're a legitimate offer? How are banks currently lending to self-employed people right now? And what loans are not being accepted in the current market conditions? And then there are the sellers. Oh, the sellers are different all the time, and they will change as a group when they're following market trends. So you need to know how they're selling right now. Is it a buyer's market, a seller's market? Are they giving concessions, or are they looking for multiple offers and bidding wars? Are they going to give you credits or take price reductions, pay for your closing costs, or pay for your mortgage interest rate buy down? Are the sellers desperate right now? Or do they realize there hasn't been a home for sale in the neighborhood for the last 2 months? So when they put it up, they're going to be the belle of the ball. Are sellers holding open houses, or are they selling in your area by appointment only? Or maybe sometimes they're doing no showings at all. You only get to look at the pictures and virtual tours. And you have to know what's going on currently with the buyers. What tricks are good buyers agents using to help their buyers win the deal? Do you have to get to a new listing the first hour it comes on the market before it gets snatched up? Or can you wait a weekend and then see a new listing later on? How are bidding wars happening right now? And how are they being handled? What offers are working in bidding wars, and what counter offers are getting people to stay in the game? For your first offer, are people offering over list price? Are people listing low so they expect those? Or are people listing high and you can wait and watch price reductions and then pounce on it later? And how strong an offer do you need to present up front? All that depends on what's going on the market. And I did an episode recently on new construction. I'm going to have JT find that and put that in the show notes, because there's some major changes with what's going on with new build homes here at the end of 2025. And I think that'll bleed into the beginning of 2026, because it takes a while for them to build homes and they've got a surplus of inventory. That's a brand new thing. So builders are offering concessions. They're giving some killer deals, because one thing builders hate, a lot of new build inventory. Make sure you go to the show notes and find that episode, because there are some big warnings about buying new homes too. So click on that episode and then put new build construction into your options. You don't have to do it, but if you are going to go that route, make sure you do it the right way. And other current things that are happening, like 6 months ago, condos and homes were selling at the same pace. Right now, there are 72% more condos for sale than there were not too long ago. That's a current change, and that's something you can take advantage of. We're also having major changes in insurance all the time. It's something that really needs to be factored into purchasing a home. Not to mention, climate issues have become one of the big factors that people are considering when they're purchasing a new home. Okay, I have to cut myself off because, again, there are hours and hours and hours on this. Understanding and having a team that can help you get even deeper understanding the current market conditions at the exact time that you're home shopping, not when someone else was home shopping. But that's why the timing is paramount to your success. I don't know if you got an Uncle Stevie like I do, but I've got an Uncle Stevie and he's awesome. But, you know, if Uncle Stevie had bought 3 homes in his lifetime at Thanksgiving when we're all hanging out somewhere in Missouri, I'm sure he's going to tell me all about what he did to buy a home in 2006, 2018, or 2020, 24. Well, unfortunately, love you, Uncle Stevie. But that information from last decade, heck, the information from last year, or the information from last month is outdated. Sometimes the practices will change every couple of weeks. So love you, Stevie, but that might not work for me. And for those of you who are the research hounds, that means that a website that you find on how to buy your home that ranks at the top of Google with millions of reviews, unfortunately, a lot of that stuff's outdated. I've seen people in the comments talking about, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. I followed this formula and I did this and this. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's so cool. How do I do that? And meanwhile, what they wrote in the comment, I know for sure was something that was done 18 months ago and is not done today. Buying a home changes. And that's the reason why understanding how to get the best information on a current market, what's happening right now, that's why this is step 10 and not step 1 or 2. Because you need to have secured your professional team so they can inform you on the here and now tactics when you're ready to get out there and start shopping. And another reason it's step 10 is because it really helps if you've gone through many of the foundational and educational first 9 steps in this process so that you can comprehend all the complex current variations that pop up. When your agent talks to you about writing a counteroffer with an appraisal gap or an escalation clause or a mortgage interest rate buy down, you probably need some time to get into this to start discussing some of those options while you're in your saving period before you can really have a complete comprehension of what they're talking about. That's why this is step 10. So the more engulfed you are in your learning process, the easier it's going to be for you to see the intricacies of these tricks of the current market when you're timing for today's buying power. And of course, your greatest hack, your ultimate weapon to ensure you the most advantageous buying power is that partnership and trust that you've developed with a real estate support team, because those folks are active in the current market. I can't stress this enough. If you want to avoid stress, make sure that team is in it. I mean, living it day to day. I know I call them unicorns, but the best unicorns out there are badass. Picture a unicorn with a mohawk and a tattoo and a sleeveless leather vest who jumps on a Harley and takes you out to go show you homes. And then they take that knowledge and combine it with your personal buying plan in today's market, combining the market techniques that are getting results with everything that they know about you and your goals, and putting those two together, figuring out your finances, your stretch points, your must-have, your short and long-term goals, your saving and money styles, your next steps after this purchase, and all the personal dreams that you're shooting for, taking that and putting it together with what's happening in the market so you get the best deal. Now, if you want to continue your education during the saving process, then review the episode guide for the things that maybe aren't familiar with you. I know I ran through a whole bunch of stuff and maybe you were like, I don't know what most of that stuff is. Well, go ahead and get in there, get the general knowledge. You can find out, how much salary you need to buy a home, down payment assistance grants, seller credit options, house hacks, the mortgage interest rate buy down that I talked about, 401k and down payment assistance, writing the offer. Credit pulls are not going to kill you. You'll also find out about FICO scores, FHA loans, VA loans for military people. By the way, the VA loan is awesome. I don't care what anybody says out there. They're wrong. If you work with the right people, using a VA loan is an incredible way. It's for military or retired military people. There's also information about inspection red flags, buying as a 1099 self-employed person. Also, episodes about the 2-year employment myth. Not necessarily true, gang. There are episodes about people who bought a home while they were in college while they didn't even have a job yet. Episodes about the PMI myth. It's not the devil. Episodes about the Dave Ramsey truth and the archaic old way of buying a home, how it doesn't work now. There are episodes about inflation, buying in expensive cities, buying out of state, even out of country. Episodes on student loans, condos versus single family homes, breaking a lease, appraisals, bidding wars, and on and on. And a lot of that stuff in there is evergreen content, but some of it could be dated. So make sure that you have checked the changes with your team. So you've got everything you need for the current market and making sure that you can get the best purchase possible. Also, that's why I keep dropping new podcasts all the time so you can stay up to date. And of course, you can check out my Instagram at How to Buy a Home Podcast and How to Buy a Home on TikTok and How to Buy a Home on YouTube. There's a channel up there and we're putting up videos all the time. And of course, on your journey, since you're at step 10 now, so it's time to get rocking. If you need inspiration while you're moving along and getting ready to put all your plans in place, you are fortunate enough to have started your journey today after several real-life listeners, folks just like you, they're already homeowners. So we've got over 100 interviews with people who followed these 10 steps and now they own a home. And no, they all were not rich. They didn't all have giant savings and they didn't all have a partner even or 2 incomes. We've got a bunch of interviews with single women. And yeah, there's a few single men too, but more single women. So that's encouraging. All the different buyers in the 100 episodes, I would say many of them had no clue when they started, but eventually they learned and now they own a home. The interviews are people from all different knowledge bases, different levels of education, careers, incomes, debt, credit scores, some who bought on their own, some who bought with a partner, and some who bought with more than 2 or 3 or 4 people. Ages 19 to 59 and a half, from pretty educated on the home buying process to absolutely clueless and confused, but curious. I don't end every episode saying you can do this for nothing. Most of you just haven't found the right information yet. To quote Wicked, everyone deserves a chance to fly. And you're lucky it's early in the morning when I'm recording this because I'm not warmed up and I can't do the big note at the end of the song. The important thing is you took the initiative. So now follow these steps in order and get your own personal plan in motion. And if you have a moment, if you're getting even a small amount of value from this free education, Can you please give the podcast a review? Just take 1 minute, write a review on Apple or Spotify. The more reviews we get, the more people are going to find the podcast, and they can get empowered too. There's no view counts or followers or subs on podcast, so it's all about the reviews. So if this has been even a teeny tiny bit helpful, take a quick second, write a quick review. I'd really appreciate it. And for the love of all things holy and unholy, if you haven't gone to howtobuyahome.com and you've got a question, go for it. I'm there. Click the button that says Ask David. It's free. It's no obligation. It's nothing to buy coaching from me. So get there. Ask your question. And as we wrap things up with the 10 steps, and as we wrap things up on these 10 steps, this is my number one biggest tip. Start your planning earlier than you think. That's it. The end, period, curtain. That's 10 steps all wrapped up in one sentence. So I look forward to hearing from you and getting you the baddest unicorn team in the land and hearing your success story, maybe even here on the podcast. Congratulations for finishing all 10 steps. Here's to you and your success. Keep learning, keep getting educated, and gain that confidence. Stop dreaming and start planning. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyahome.com to get started.